Guys, welcome to the I Love CVille Show. My name is Jerry Miller, and thank you kindly for joining us. We are live in Charlottesville, across the Commonwealth, the country, and the world on the I Love CVille Network. It's good to be with you on a Tuesday afternoon. Presented today by Skooma Boutique Dispensary. The best dispensary in Charlottesville is Skooma Boutique Dispensary, with a location on the downtown mall next to Rapture Restaurant and a location on Elleywood Avenue, Skooma Boutique Dispensary. Folks, a lot to cover on today's show. Judah Wickower, your favorite director, and yours truly, will navigate viewers and listeners through a sea of localized content. And in those tumultuous waters, we have a number of different topics, including 8 Richmond, Virginia companies on the Fortune 500 list. We will let you know which of those 8 Richmond companies have received or earned such a prestigious ranking. We'll talk the end of virtual schools within the Charlottesville public school system, a new police chief in the works for the city of Charlottesville. Unfortunately, that new police chief now includes yet another layer of consultant taxpayer dollars. And now the city of Charlottesville will utilize its hired mercenary city manager, a consultant, Michael Rogers of the Robert Bob Group, to hire a city police chief through another consultant. Yes, you've heard that correctly. The city manager currently is an interim, and his name is Michael Rogers, and he's a consultant. And the consultant city manager is hiring another consultant. And this additional consultant will be tasked with the responsibility of hiring a police chief. So a consultant is reporting to another consultant about the hiring of the city police chief. We'll talk about that on today's show. We'll also talk about popular opinion, Americans and their voice, their perspective, their vote, their inclination, their instinct, what they want to do with life is now shifting away from supporting Ukraine. An Associated Press poll that was released yesterday indicated that many in America, many Americans are now growing disenchanted and disenfranchised with the Russian-Ukrainian war because of impacts on wallets and purses and how support of this war is pinching pennies on the home front. We'll relay this AP poll to you, and we'll offer you our thoughts on inflation and how it stacks up against a war in the East that is impacting domestic household bottom lines. 2 more topics I want to cover on today's show. UVA men's tennis casually just won its 5th NCAA championship. The men's tennis team is a dynasty. And 5 titles, 2013, 2015, 2016, 2017, and 2022, 5 titles in 9 years is a dynasty. And that's what this team has done. UVA Athletics Department has 31 national championships. That is big time. Big time. We are truly beyond blessed with the athletic teams at the University of Virginia. 31 national championships, 5 for men's tennis. The win happens Sunday in Champaign, Illinois. Virginia men's tennis finishes 28-5 overall. I'll give you my take on the Virginia Athletic Department today in the program. And Judah Wickower, let's go to the 2-shot and let's welcome our director to the program so he can say hello to his friends, his family, and his many fans. Friends, family, and fans.
Hello.
Judah Wickower has many of them. The new segment we will introduce today is called Make It Better, a segment we will routinely showcase and feature on this show. And today, what will we make better, Judah Wickhauer?
I think we said the downtown mall.
I love the downtown mall. My wife knows I love the downtown mall. You know I love the downtown mall. It's my favorite aspect of the city of Charlottesville is the downtown mall. But I think we're both in agreement it can be made better in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
There's so much potential that is being actualized, but so much potential that is just like low-hanging fruit that could be executed so much better.
Mm-hmm.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah. Downtown mall is a great. It's been getting better over the years. We've seen pictures and heard stories of what it was like, 30, 40 years ago, and it's obviously come a long way. But I think we could take it further. I think it could be a much better place.
My old man, my dad, 72 years old he is, 72 years young. He went to the University of Virginia, a graduate of 1972 from the University of Virginia. First arrived in Charlottesville as a precocious 18-year-old in 1968. And he said from 68 to 72, while he was in Charlottesville, you did not go downtown. It was sketchy bodetchy. Downtown was. They had the what would you characterize a movie theater that shows pornos? How would you characterize that?
Red light? I don't know.
Red light?
I read recently that they're used.
I don't think there's red light. Red light is.
Well, I'm not sure what you're asking then.
What
do
is
you
a
mean
movie theater
characterize
that shows porn's called?
I don't know. A porn theater?
Is that what it's called?
I don't know.
Viewers and listeners,
I've never seen one.
What is a movie theater from back in the day? Do they still have these? Are you looking this up? Can you find us a word to describe this?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Be careful what you search for on our I Love CVille computers over there. What is a movie theater that shows nudie flicks and essentially
adult cinemas?
Cinemas?
I don't know.
I don't feel like that's the right word. But there was one on the mall.
Really?
That's what where I'm getting at is that's what my dad remembers from, and he swears he never went. But he swears there was one on the mall when he was in school here. And he said you didn't go downtown. I mean, and I've made comments before on this program. I remember when
erotic theater.
I don't think erotic theater is an accurate description of a movie theater that shows X-rated movies. Ray Cadell says X-rated movies. An X-rated movie theater is the best description I've seen so far. I mean, is there a direct name for a movie theater that shows porn? There's got to be. Anyway, long story short,
I'm on.
What are you even Googling?
I'm on Wikipedia, and it's I googled porn theater.
Porn theater.
And I got adult movie theater, which also goes by erotic theater. I mean, I don't know.
Shouldn't you Google names? I would Google this. What is the name of a movie theater that shows porn? Google that.
The Pussycat Theater chain operated 30 pornographic theaters at its height.
Oh, thank you. Harry Tyson in Connecticut says, ask Pee Wee Herman. Harry Tyson, I want to give you some props on that.
I drove by that place.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I was visiting my friend in Florida, and we're driving along, and one of them goes, hey, that's where they caught Pee Wee.
Pee Wee Herman is Bad News Bears. Travis Hackworth in Danville, Virginia says, a burlesque theater. See, I think a burlesque theater, and I respect the comments.
It's a little more
classier.
Yeah.
A burlesque theater is a step up.
Yeah, I think
than
there's
an X-rated theater.
It's more titillation.
It's more art.
It's more titillation than porn.
It's more art. Art. What did you call it?
Titillation? You don't know that word? Seriously? Do I need to look that up?
Okay, you're going to look up the exact definition. Oh, God. You cracked me up. Carol Thorpe, Queen of Jack.
Titillation, the arousal of interest or excitement, especially through sexually suggestive images or words. That is perfectly suited to what we're talking about.
I did say it wasn't. Props and kudos to you. Great use of the word. Judah just very appropriately utilized titillation in a sentence on the talk show with cameras and microphones.
Let's not make it weird, Jerry.
No, hey, I'm just saying you used it right. Bob Yarborough says he loves when he joins the show late. I don't know, we got distracted. Bob Yarborough, the king of Redfields. We're going to do a segment on the show, what makes the downtown mall better. How we got distracted is my dad went to school here from 68 to 72. And he said on the downtown mall when he was a student here, there was a porno movie theater. And we were trying to figure out the name of what you would call a porno movie theater. We're going to go with Ray Cadell. Ray Cadell says an X-rated movie theater. We're going to go with X-rated movie theater. And Dad, in his recollection from 68 to 72, said you just didn't go downtown. And then, as a segue, I was here 2000 to 2004 as a student. In early 2000, you didn't go downtown. My friends and I have very vivid descriptions and memories of going to Miller's as first years to hear part of the band Agents of Good Roots play an acoustic set at Miller's. And as we walked in as first years at the University of Virginia, 2.5 months into our first year at the University of Virginia, when we walked into Miller's to hear this acoustic set, locals at the bar screamed, "Students are not welcomed here," as we walked in. Now we were flexing our beer muscles and our Jägermeister muscles, and we still went into Miller's and grabbed a seat and a table regardless. But the mall has come a long way as an epicenter for tax revenue, as an epicenter for all that is localized and humanized and personalized for city of Charlottesville, as an epicenter for employment, as an epicenter for the courts, as the home of City Hall, as the home of the police department. You know, downtown is the heartbeat of the community. So we'll ask on our show, how do you make the mall better? And I have a feeling you're going to take it from an angle of homelessness as one of your angles. And when you're navigating the homelessness discussion, you have to navigate it with you know, what's a good saying?
Tact and white gloves?
Yeah, tact, thank you. Tact and white gloves. Absolutely. Neil Williamson, we'll get to that CVillepedia link that talks about the timeline of the downtown mall. But homelessness is what you wanted to navigate. And we're giving you a little autonomy here and carte blanche, but that could be pulled back quickly here if you get a little too ballsy here.
Yeah, well, I'm not gonna delve too deeply into it, and I actually think it's two problems. There's the homelessness problem, which we all know about, and there's also the problem with mental health. And I think a bigger problem with what we often see on the downtown mall is a mental health problem. There is the issue of the Haven, and you know what people that are getting helped there do when the Haven is not open. And I know a lot of us have seen the people in the downtown mall, and I think part of that could be attributed to, you know, what do they do? If they're main, you know, if they're getting fed and spending time sleeping or residing at the Haven, of course they're going to come to the downtown mall if they get kicked out of the Haven for the day. Where else are they going to go? But the other problem is the mental health issue, and I think that's often what we see on the downtown mall, and is, I think, to me, a bit more distressing, because the reason I'm bringing this up is because I've been reading about it recently, reading about people's, you know, experiences, and hearing about people talking about, you know, getting screamed at by people in the downtown mall, come out of some place with a gelato, and someone asks you for money, and then get mad at you when you say you don't have any money. And it's like, people are using cards now, but that's not the point. The point is that...
Well, it's partially the point. Every time I get asked for money, I'm like, dude, I use a debit card.
Yeah.
I don't say, dude, I use a debit card, but I'm like... And the conversation now has shifted. For so long, for my entire life, it's like, this is a sign of inflation. Do you have any change? Now it's straight up, do you have any dollars?
You got $5 like
Yeah.
$5.
Are you getting shoulder tapped on the mall from panhandlers for $5? I have undoubtedly gotten stopped and said, can I get $5 from you? $5.
I'm pretty good at avoiding people.
You are very good at that.
But yeah, I have been accosted, and it doesn't happen often. But what's worse is when you don't have anything to give someone, and then of course you get excoriated or sworn at, and then there's like the people that work on the mall. I've seen comments about people saying that as a woman, I work on the downtown mall and I don't go out on break without someone with me. I mean, there are people that are literally working on the downtown mall afraid to walk the downtown mall alone because they've been screamed at.
Have you ever felt afraid on the downtown mall?
Yeah, I think once or twice.
I felt afraid once or twice at the downtown mall as well. My wife and I, we had a date night, and we started with a drink at the local. I got a beer, she got a martini. Then we had dinner at Tavola, and then we wanted to have a nightcap on the downtown mall at like Citizen or Rapture. Mm-hmm. So we walked from downtown Belmont, dinner at Tavola, down through Belmont,
right,
and then to the downtown mall. And we went on the Belmont Bridge, and down the Belmont Bridge, down into the Pavilion. This was like a Tuesday night, so there was no show.
Yeah.
And down the Pavilion onto the downtown mall. And that would be, what side of that? The Pavilion side is the east side of the downtown mall. That's the east side. So we're coming onto the mall from the east side, the Pavilion, my wife and I, Tuesday night. Must have been like 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. In the east side of the mall, the Pavilion side,
that's where they congregate.
Really, really, really unlit. There is not much lighting on the east side of the mall.
Yeah.
And to Judah's point, men and women who are houseless, I think the preferred nomenclature now is houseless. Men and women who are houseless are congregating at a deeper clip on the east side of the mall by the Pavilion.
Yeah,
and at night, when the businesses aren't, and it also coincides with most of the businesses on the east side of the mall are not open at night. The hopping side of the mall is the west side of the mall on the Omni side, the Omni Hotel side, where that's where most of the businesses are open at night. And
there's also the cover that's provided by
the Pavilion.
Well, not the Pavilion. I was going to say the
bus stop, train station.
The bus stop, right there at the top entrance.
Yeah, that's turned into a shanty town.
Yeah, I mean, you can go there and it looks like 3 or 4 people have their possessions stored there.
It's turned into almost a shanty town. So the east side is the side that's most patronized by houseless individuals. The east side is the side of the mall that's the most unlit side of the mall. The east side, which is the Pavilion side, is also the side of the mall that has the least amount of businesses. In fact, I can't think of a single business on the east side of the mall that's open at night. Probably the first business on the side of the mall, east side of the mall, that's open at night is Passiflora. And you have to go fairly far up the mall on the east side before you get to one that's open after...
Well, that's an entire block.
8 p.m. That's what I'm saying. You're going a block.
And then you've got the Federal Building.
Right.
The
Federal Building.
Well, whatever it is, the City Hall.
City Hall. Okay. So we're going to try to navigate this dance. And Neil Williamson has set a beautiful timeline of downtown Charlottesville. I'm going to relay items from this downtown Charlottesville timeline to Judah Wickower viewers and listeners. Jump in with conversations and perspective. Neil Williamson sent this from CVillepedia.org. In 1959, October 29th, 1959, the Charlottesville Albemarle Chamber of Commerce recommended a study on turning downtown Main Street into a mall restricted to pedestrians. 1959, Chamber of Commerce brings up the idea of a pedestrian-only downtown mall, 1959. That's a long-ass time ago.
Yeah.
I mean, quick math right there. Help me with some quick math. 60, 40, that would be 63 years.
Yeah.
63 years in October. In 1970, Downtown Charlottesville, Inc. presented the mall idea to City Council. December of 1970. So it took over 11 years, more than 11 years, from October 1959, when the Chamber of Commerce floated the idea of a pedestrian downtown mall, to December 1970, when a corporation, a group of people who were stakeholders to bring a pedestrian downtown to Charlottesville, in December of 1970, they present the idea to City Council. In April of 71, in an effort to sway public opinion, the city holds Mall Day to provide a glimpse of life with the pedestrian mall. It's April of 71, Mall Day. In May of 1972, Downtown Charlottesville, Inc. presents the mall proposal to skeptical Charlottesville business leaders. In 1974, February, 2 councilors casted votes in favor of building the mall. 3 other members abstained because of potential conflicts of interest. In December of 1974, construction of the downtown mall began. There was significant initial opposition to the mall project, which it described as a boondoggle, a $2 million mistake, and a gift to the ungrateful merchants of Main Street. This is what I find so interesting about this. In 1974, the downtown mall goes to vote to City Council. There's 5 people on council in 74, like there are 5 people on council right now in 2022. 3 of the 5 abstained because of a potential conflict of interest. That means the downtown mall was approved in 1974 by 2 people.
Yeah. The other 3 were probably business owners that had.
I'm sure.
Something,
a stake of some kind.
Yeah.
Real estate owners or business owners, a stake of some kind. We could probably dig that up. $2 million boondoggle, as it was described by the Daily Progress in 1976. The East Main Street side of the mall was barricaded in 1975, which began an 18-month construction project.
Wow.
In 1980, Miller and Rhodes and Leggett, 2 large department stores, left downtown for fashion scare. That caused most folks in the community to think that the downtown Charlottesville corridor was going to collapse. Miller's, the first music spot, opens in August of 1981. Dave Matthews later worked there as a bartender. The first music spot, downtown Charlottesville, 1981, Miller's the Bar, opened by Steve Tharp. In 1985, the Radisson Hotel opened. It later became the Omni Hotel, the western end of the newly extended downtown mall. Opening the Omni in 85 was humongous for downtown. I would say items that were humongous for downtown Charlottesville were C&O Restaurant, the Omni Hotel, obviously the pedestrian focus and away from vehicle-centric. The revitalization of the Jefferson Theater and the Paramount, significant for downtown Charlottesville. Corin Capshaw's involvement, the pavilion creation, significant for downtown Charlottesville, the music venue.
No doubt.
Capshaw's involvement, significant. And once you have those string of items or events or significant barometers, the rest fills in itself. I mean, what is the biggest draw to downtown Charlottesville now? It's the food and the music scene.
Is there a music scene on the downtown mall right now?
Yeah. There's a music scene. Miller's has live music all the time. So does Rapture.
Okay.
Pavilion's got live music. Fridays After 5 is popping again. The Jeff's got live music. Paramount's got an eclectic list of superstars that play the Paramount Theater. Wouldn't you say the two biggest draws for downtown are food, booze, and music?
I'd definitely say food and booze. I still don't know how much I would say music draws.
Music is a massive draw to downtown Charlottesville.
Every once in a while.
Fridays After 5 is 26 weeks a year.
Okay.
More than that. So how do you make it better? And this is where you have to navigate the commentary with tack and what did you call it?
White gloves.
White gloves and tack.
Tact.
I mean, look, the houseless population in downtown Charlottesville has had a lot of layers to the onion. One of the layers to the onion of the houseless population in downtown Charlottesville is Joan Fenton and the group formerly known as the DBAC making a push to remove the seating in downtown Charlottesville. And the little seating that's left in downtown Charlottesville does not have backs to it. And they're individual seats, have you noticed, with bars in between the seats? It's a bench with individual seats.
I've noticed some of them. I thought they.
That's to keep people from lying down.
Right.
And sleeping on them.
Yeah.
Having the bars in between the seats on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Removing the public restrooms and removing the seating is a direct effort to keep houseless folks from congregating on the downtown mall. Direct correlation, undoubtedly.
No, I'm not. I wasn't going to say anything about. It just seems misplaced. I think is the word I'm looking for.
Well, then how do you do it?
You're basically like
you got the most popular.
Okay.
You got the most popular shelters and soup kitchens in the area. Basically, a hop, skip, and a jump off the downtown mall. And we all know, you and I know, we've worked down here for a decade plus, right? We know that the houseless folks are staying downtown for a meal, to breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and then come crash sleep time at the shelter. So they hang out here. Because why would they walk and leave when they can wait a few hours to get another meal? That's happening, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you got a chicken and an egg scenario. And everyone knows how I feel about the designated outdoor refreshment area. We don't have to open that Pandora's box. Everyone knows I think the downtown mall should be a Dora. And you should be able to walk the entire mall with an alcoholic beverage in your hand. And the city should utilize that to capture incremental tax revenue. We won't open that Pandora's box.
I'm not even sure what it has to do with the topic.
Well, I think it improves the downtown mall having a Dora.
Oh, yeah.
Don't you agree?
I don't know if it improves it. It might draw more people.
Carol Thorpe, Queen of Jack Jewett, is in agreement with you. She says music is not nearly as big a draw to the downtown mall as it was, say, 10 years ago. Danny O'Day disagrees with you, Judah. The Pavilion had 2 sold-out shows in the last month. Danny O'Day, DOD says. How do you make them all better?
I mean, that brings people to the Pavilion. I don't necessarily think that adds much to the mall. Like when I see things going on at the Pavilion, I either stay away or I just watch, and there is like a mass of people down at the Pavilion, and they're coming and going. They're parking somewhere and going to the Pavilion. And then, maybe they go get drinks later. I don't know.
I'd say that's a good thing.
Yeah, I didn't say it was a bad thing. Anyways, as I was going to say about the the benches thing and the bathrooms thing. I was trying to say that I felt it was misguided. The reason being that you're not going to solve. You're like trying to solve a problem by not I can't even wrap my head around. You think you're going to solve the houseless people on the downtown mall by not giving them a place to sit or go to the bathroom?
That's the thinking.
That doesn't seem like poor thinking to you?
I mean, I can say this. I don't know if there's a slam dunk right answer. You know the Bank of America ATM? Not the old Bank of America building that Hunter Craig owns, where Prime 109 is. Viewers and listeners, not
the new
that.
one with the little entryway where you can go in and use the ATM.
There's a tiny ATM
over on this side.
Yes.
Next to between
next
Bagby's
to Bagby's
and
Blue Ridge Country Store.
Yeah.
So, viewers and listeners, there's an ATM on the downtown mall, a Bank of America. It's right next to Bagby's and Blue Ridge Country Store. In this ATM, you could only get into the bank by swiping a card in the card reader. And that was a security mechanism to keep people that were non-Bank of America users or customers from entering the Bank of America ATM. It's literally an ATM and nothing more. But folks quickly figured out that you could swipe anything with a barcode, like a JCPenney card, a library card. You could swipe a grocery VIP card, like a Wegmans card,
right,
and you got into the ATM. So when it got really cold this past winter, when I was getting to the downtown mall after dropping off our little boy at school, oftentimes much earlier than everybody else getting to downtown, I'd walk the mall, and I'd look into that ATM, and I routinely saw houseless individuals sleeping off a bender and waking up in the morning in that ATM. And there were many mornings where it was 2 or 3 houseless individuals sleeping in that ATM area that's covered and climate controlled. Often, and this is gross, but this I've seen happen, and the police can confirm, utilizing the ATM as their personal restrooms. Number 1 and number 2.
And that goes to my point that it seems misguided to remove public restrooms to prevent houseless people from using them in the hopes that they'll go somewhere else. I mean, it seems like somebody's just not, putting 2 and 2 together. Because clearly they don't care about public restrooms. So now the problem you have is that there are no public restrooms for people that are actually on the downtown mall to shop or eat.
Yeah, and that's a concern. I mean, the downtown mall, by definition, is a public park. So not having the public restrooms on the downtown mall is a concern.
Same with benches. They
Not
clearly
having the
don't
benches.
care about benches because they will sit and lie underneath the entrance to the.
They're just on the
stop.
bricks. They're just lying on the road.
Yeah. So again, you're not actually doing anything by removing the benches.
Devil's advocate with you.
You're just providing less spots
For the average consumer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there's a problem with people lying on benches, we have cops going up and down the mall all day long.
The police have little authority to police pleasant homelessness. It's one thing if the houseless individual was being a rascal or antagonizing
I understand,
people.
but can they not even ask them
No, you cannot.
Well, then maybe that's something that we need to change.
Well, look, and Danny O'Day agrees with your point. And there's a lot of comments coming in here. O'Day says, Judah is absolutely right. Removing the benches is treating the symptom and not the disease.
Yes.
And we'll add removing the benches and bathrooms is treating the symptom and not the disease.
Exactly.
And I think Judah and Danny O'Day are exactly right. For the sake of a talk show and to play devil's advocate for the sake of a talk show, so this cannot be misconstrued, perhaps there would be more houseless individuals in downtown Charlottesville if there were bathrooms and benches. I'm not saying there would be, but that was undoubtedly the thinking of Joan Fenton and the DBAC. I completely am in agreement with you that the lack of benches in public restrooms impacts the average consumer more than it impacts the houseless individual. I'm in agreement with you.
And I think most of them are here already anyways.
Who? Houseless individuals?
Yeah.
Yeah, because the soup kitchens and the shelters around downtown Charlottesville. And I've said on the past, and I call it enormous heat on the I Love CVille Network years ago. I've said this and I call it enormous heat, that years ago I said that having the soup kitchens and the shelters around the crown jewel of Charlottesville perhaps is not the best city planning. Mm-hmm. And I call tremendous heat for that.
Again, I'd like to reiterate that I think there are two problems here, and one of them is the houseless problem, and one of them is the mental health problem. There's a guy that I see every day over at the post office.
Is it Clapping Man?
No, it's not. That guy's
insane. He's deranged.
He's got to be.
He's mentally insane.
He's got to have some serious mental issues. But
Clapping Man is clapping so hard that every time I see Clapping Man clap, I think Clapping Man is hurting his hands by clapping. He's clapping so hard.
I think it's a form of flagellation, like monks used to do. Like slapping your back. I think he's got some demons that he's trying to work out.
And that's
not what I was going to.
Screaming Man.
There's also Screaming Man.
That who carries around with the stake or the wand, the gypsy, what's it called? The club, the staff. He's almost got like
a walking stick.
Or it's a walking stick. I like a gypsy staff better than the walking stick. How about the guy who stays in the park every day? That's like got the sleeping bag. He's got always smoking cigarettes, chain smoking in the park on Market Street. Market Street Park.
Oh, there are multiple guys there. I mean, I take Liza to the park every day, and
Liza's our mascot.
Most days there are at least two people taking up benches.
Oftentimes
sleeping on them.
Either sleeping and very open, and I guess it's completely legal now, so no one's judging. But usually smoking blunts.
Well, the times when I go, it's usually just people sleeping on the benches.
But what were you going to say? I didn't mean to get you off track.
So I was going to say that there's a guy that I see next to the post office every day. He's got his stuff right there underneath the little overhang by the side entrance.
Oh yeah.
And he's a nice guy. I say hi to him every day. If he's at the door, he'll hold the door open for people.
I know who you're talking about.
He's decently dressed. He doesn't and I think he is just a houseless guy. But then we get into the issue of the mental health, and again, like people causing disruption, the clapping guy, the yelling guy.
Yelling guy with the gypsy staff.
Yeah, the people that relentlessly. I mean, I've been walking. Like I said, I'm good at avoiding people, but I've been on the downtown mall recently where I've heard some guy, mad at someone for not having any money.
Yeah,
and basically saying, he's bringing up race or some other reason why he thinks they're not giving him money, and that's the kind of thing that really, I think, really mars the downtown mall. And I don't have a problem with people who are homeless. I understand, we as a city can do more for both of these sets of people, but I think I think the people coming to the downtown mall need to know that they have some measure of protection from someone swearing at them because they don't have any change in their pocket.
I think there's a lot of truth to that. Travis Hackworth is watching in Danville. He says Charleston, South Carolina banned sitting or lying on sidewalks from 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. Violators were fined $25 for a first offense and $50 for every isolated violation after that. The city council said these Charleston streets were built in the 18th century and are narrow by current standards, and that people sitting or lying on the streets or sidewalks creates a safety hazard. That's how Charleston, South Carolina is handling it. Carol, Queen of Jack Jewett, the side streets serve as the restrooms. The smell of urine is horrible in them.
I've come out the back door of the Macklin and been like, oh, hey, don't mind me. I've
come out the back door of the Macklin building in the alley behind the Nook and Draft Tap Room, and I've seen some pretty raunchy behavior. And not just people peeing in the alley next to the dumpsters. I've seen...
Fortunately, that's the worst I've been
on a handful of times, lewd sex acts.
Oh.
In the alley of the Macklin building behind the Nook, undoubtedly. So how do you make it better? And I'm going to give a tip also to the houseless folks that are panhandling and asking for money. Folks don't have money anymore. They carry around cards. So you may be best suited to carry like a Square credit card reader with you. And bust out the credit card reader on your phone. All the houseless folks have phones. And start swiping some credit cards. Because asking me for $1 or $5 is not going to happen because I don't have dollars with me. Nor do I have change.
And to be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if people actively, intentionally left their cash and change.
No one carries cash or change.
Some people do.
Nobody does.
It would not surprise me, though, if people intentionally left their cash and change at home to avoid this type of situation.
No, that is ridiculous. I
You
just
think
say,
so?
no, I don't have cash or change. I don't think ulterior motive, I'm going to leave my cash or change at home because I'm not going to give it to Clapping Man on the downtown mall or Gypsy Staff Carrying Yelling Man.
That's you.
You leave your dollars and change at home so Gypsy Staff Carrying Yelling Man doesn't ask for it and get it? Instead of just saying to Gypsy Staff Carrying Yelling Man, I don't have any change? Or, like me, I'm not going to give you any change?
The other day I found a bunch of change. I was like, how did all this change get in my pocket?
And you gave it to Gypsy Staff Carrying Yelling Man?
I would have.
Did you?
No.
Come on.
I took it out of my pocket and put it on my dresser because I didn't want my change to be jangling around when I'm walking around and have someone be like, hey, give me some of that.
Did you really think that?
I'm serious, though. Some people...
That was funny. You didn't really... It's funny if you just made that up for the sake of a talk show. It's sad if you really did that in real life. I don't want my change jiggling in my pocket of my pants. I'm going to leave it on the dresser next to my bed in a ramekin that I stole from Applebee's.
A what?
And I don't want this change in my pocket jiggling because Gypsy Staff Carrying Yelling Man is going to demand it after he hears the change jiggling in my pocket. That's what you thought before you came to work today.
No, but seriously.
Yes, it is. That is what you thought it is.
There are some people who...
You are that person. Are you not that person?
I mean,
I think you are that.
I don't keep cash on me. That's mostly because I don't carry a wallet anymore.
But that is not because of Gypsy Staff Carrying Yelling Man.
But I'm sure there are some people who are like, look, I'm not going to carry cash on me. If there's some guy who's actively accosting people and like swearing at them if they don't give him money, right on the downtown mall, every day. Seriously.
Bill McKenzie, some of the folks you see migrate with the weather. The guy has a shillelagh.
Shillelagh.
What is a shillelagh? You
You
know what a shillelagh is?
Yeah, I mean, kind of.
It's a shillelagh. I don't know what a shillelagh is.
Shillelagh.
All right, I'm copying and pasting shillelagh into my browser.
Let's see if I can.
Yes, a shillelagh.
Shillelagh.
What the hell is a
A
shillelagh?
wooden walking stick and club or cudgel, typically made from a stout, knotty blackthorn stick with a large knob at the top.
Wait, is he talking about the gypsy staff?
It's associated with Ireland and Irish folklore. So what he has is not the exact definition of a shillelagh, but it's
It's a gypsy staff.
similar. It's an Irish gypsy staff, if there
Is
is
it-
such a thing as an Irish
is gypsy
gypsy.
staff spelled S-T-A-F-F?
That's how I would spell staff.
But you would spell it the same way you spell staff of a company?
Yeah.
The yelling man has a gypsy staff.
Well, I don't know that there's any specific gypsy staff. You're saying it's like a staff, and it looks like something that a gypsy would have because it's colorful, right? He's got some.
Well, yeah, isn't it the definition of gypsy by nature nomadic? A gypsy is someone
were
who's
fairly
nomadic, right?
Yeah.
A gypsy's nomadic.
But if this guy's here year-round, then how is he nomadic?
He's nomadic because he doesn't have a dwelling where he lives.
I don't know if that's quite the equivalent.
Is the yelling man a gypsy or a grifter?
I don't know if I'd
Grifter has
call
more
him
negative
either.
negative connotations.
Yeah,
like he's up to no
grifter's-
good.
Grifter is usually running con jobs and
Yeah.
things like that.
A gypsy is nomadic.
Although, to be fair, some people believe that gypsies run lots of con jobs, so...
That's you got to go there. Comments are coming in. Travis Hackworth. Require panhandlers to obtain solicitation permits through a city ordinance or law.
I mean, is that really what we want?
Well, if you
Registered-
require panhandlers to obtain solicitation permits, then the police can go up to the panhandlers and ask to see if they have their permit. And if they don't have the permit, then they can get them off the mall.
So you're saying that gives police permission to do something to those that don't? It still seems a little off to me. Because if you don't want panhandlers on the downtown mall, why make an ordinance that allows that just so that you can get the undesirable panhandlers off the downtown mall?
Because
it would be simpler to just say, I'm sorry, we can't have you bothering people on the downtown mall.
But they can't do that because it's a public park. Downtown mall is, by definition, a public park.
Well, then what would they do if they made an ordinance for it?
Well, then they would essentially call the permitting, like all the people that are selling on the tables on the downtown mall. You know how there's merchants selling tables? I mean, I Love CVille used to set up a merchant table and sold our T-shirts. You have to pay for that license.
I know that.
And they get a percentage of sales. So the thinking is the panhandler would essentially register as if he or she was a tabletop merchant, give upfront money to the city, Charlottesville, and would the city panhandler ordinance also get a cut of the back end of panhandling revenue? I mean, leave it to Charlottesville, Virginia to tax freaking houseless individuals. They B-poll tax us to death.
They could try, but I still don't see what... I don't see how that would have any effect on the downtown mall.
Bob Yarborough's got comments. Bob Schwartz. Are you watching in Jersey, Bob Schwartz? He says it's a walking stick, gentlemen. A walking stick. Bob Yarborough, king of Redfield, says this. Random observation and question. Have either of you visited Boulder, Colorado? They have a downtown mall. I think it was designed by the same person who designed Charlottesville's. They struggle with this issue as well. Free speech rights govern a hunk of these challenges. He says the Boulder problem is multiplied by like the power of 10. So it's 10 times worse than what Charlottesville has.
I've never been there.
Danny O'Day is very much standing up for the rights of houseless individuals. And Danny O'Day says, how is criminalizing unhoused people going to help improve the houseless situation? Houseless people have, quite literally, the least of anyone in a given community. If they had the money to afford a daily $50 fine, odds are they would not sleep in an ATM alcove when it's 10 degrees at night. I think that's fair.
They also wouldn't go register.
No, they wouldn't register. And if they don't register, Travis Hackworth is suggesting, he's in Danville, that they should make the houseless folks register, and the ones who are unregistered would then be pushed off the mall by the police.
But they can't.
What do you mean?
You just said they can't.
If they made it, if they had a panhandling ordinance or a panhandler's license, like for instance, police and city officials, if we set up a tabletop on the downtown mall, I Love CVille, right now, and just decided, you know what, we're going to set up a tabletop on the mall and we're going to sell I Love CVille shirts, and we're going to do it at 1:45 this afternoon, right? City officials and the police could go up to us at 1:45 this afternoon as we were setting up and say, let me see your license and your permit. You don't have one, you can't do it, tear it down and leave, or you're going to be fined. So Travis is saying that the city should do the same thing for panhandlers, where they have to register if they want to panhandle on the mall. And then police can go up to the panhandlers and say, let me see your license. If you don't have one, you got to leave or you get fined. That's what Travis is saying to do. It's an interesting idea. I will add this caveat, Travis, who's watching in Danville. The police department is about 24% understaffed, 24% understaffed. And a small, loud contingent of Charlottesville, we'll call it the socialist contingent of Charlottesville, is still demanding that the police department get defunded and deprioritized. If anyone just saw the visual version of the show, they saw Judah scoff at that right there. The poker player he is, an extraordinary one, you could tell by his poker face. Yeah. So the thinking and the vocal friction, the vocalized friction from the socialists of Charlottesville will be, A, the police department shouldn't be policing panhandlers. B, it's not a good use of police department resources. And C, if the police department has enough time and money to police panhandlers, then it's being funded too much and not doing the right kind of policing. That's what the socialist side would say.
But anyone with some sense can clearly see that all three of those are ill-considered arguments, because there are cops on the downtown mall all day, every day, anyways.
Well, then what's the answer? The segment is called, and obviously a lot of the topics we were talking about today, like the 8 RVA companies on the Fortune 500 list, we will save that for tomorrow. We will save CVille Public Schools ending virtual school for tomorrow. We'll save this topic for tomorrow. The city of Charlottesville has a consultant for a city manager, and the consultant for a city manager is going to hire another consultant to try to hire the police chief.
Consultantception.
Yeah. So the consultant.
I wonder if time slows down for the second consultant.
It probably does. It probably does. The hired gun consultant city manager is now hiring a consultant recruiter to hire the police chief. We will save that topic for tomorrow. Russia-Ukraine and how this war, Russia-Ukraine war, is causing inflation to surge in America. And now, according to an Associated Press poll, Americans are saying, F this. You want to really see the true essence of Americans? Punch them in the wallet and the purse, and then they'll truly show to you what matters to them. Mm-hmm. And the Associated Press poll is saying Americans are getting tired and apathetic of Ukrainian support because of this punch in the wallet and punch in the purse. That's an AP poll that was released yesterday. We'll save that topic for tomorrow. We will finish in the next 5 minutes because we have our 1:45 call.
That's true.
How do you make downtown better? I've said the designated outdoor refreshment area, we're not going to spend any time on that. Everyone knows how I feel about Dora. The second thing is pretty straightforward.
Do
you say there's too many houseless folks on the downtown mall?
Yeah, I think the downtown mall should not be a place for sleeping. I mean,
I'm in agreement with that.
if someone disagrees with me, that's fine.
No, I agree with you.
Charlottesville, while it is not the largest city, has so much beautiful land that to have people lying on the downtown mall.
But we know why they're lying on the mall. It's because of the proximity to 3 meals a day and shelter at these shelters. They're not leaving downtown because the largest congregation of soup kitchens and shelters are downtown.
So we equip the police, we make the allowance for them to move people off the downtown mall while shops and restaurants are open. I don't feel like that is...
But then the socialists of Charlottesville will say that's not a good use of police resources.
The police are on the downtown mall anyways.
There's only one officer usually on the mall.
I've seen 1, 2, 3, within quick succession of each other. Plus there's the...
I mean, if maybe the alternative is utilizing taxpayer dollars to create a campus for houseless individuals, and in this particular campus, there's soup kitchen for 3 meals a day, there's shelter for sleeping. There's educational resources. Here's how you get your credit score back on track. Here's how to fill out a resume. Here's how to get clothes for a job interview. Here's how to do job interviews. Here's how to get integrated back into society, educational resources. That campus was funded from taxpayer dollars. It was moved away from the epicenter of employment, the epicenter of Charlottesville, the downtown mall, and was positioned somewhere else in the city.
I like the sound of all of that.
And that solves the issue. It could even be done in a joint venture capacity with Albemarle County. Albemarle County has vastly more space than the 10.2 square miles the city has that's already landlocked. Board of Supervisors and City Council form a campus somewhere in Albemarle where Charlottesville and Albemarle County houseless folks can go for food, for shelter, and for educational resources of integrating back into the community.
I like it.
You don't get the police involved. The socialists and super left don't say that the police are overstepping their bounds.
Well, it's not going to completely get rid of the problem, but I think it would...
It compartmentalizes it.
I think there clapping guy and yelling guy, I think have a...
Wait, yelling guy with the gypsy staff.
If you want to call it that.
It's a gypsy staff.
I think some of them have a need to share their, whatever it is. Clapping guy definitely comes to the downtown mall purposefully to share his clapping.
Yeah, clapping guy.
So he's not gonna. His issues are not going to be solved by. And I'm not saying, I love your idea. I'm just saying it's not going to solve.
I think clapping guys'
problem.
issues are, and you've already alluded to this, mental health.
Yeah. I think a lot of them have mental health issues, and that's something that needs to be addressed as well. I think we need better mental health facilities in Charlottesville that can help these people. Just letting them wander around is, it's a tough solution. It's a free country. If somebody doesn't want to get mental health, they don't have to. But some of these people, I think...
Sandra Collins, if you use the term socialist, you then must use fascist as well. I don't think you do. Do you?
I don't know if you have to.
I don't know. I don't think you do. I respect the comment regardless, Sandra, but I don't think you have to use both. We'll keep this segment going. I think it has potential. Make it better. Or we pick one topic of Charlottesville and we make it better. I think it has appeal. Charlottesville and Albemarle County do a joint venture. And the joint venture is pooling taxpayer dollars to fund a campus or an epicenter that helps houseless individuals. And this campus, Albemarle County, City of Charlottesville joint venture, will have food 3 meals a day, will have shelter, will have educational resources associated with resumes, getting back in the job force, the proper attire to wear, how to act to get a job, how to build savings to find housing. This campus probably should be positioned somewhere in Albemarle because the city doesn't have the space. It's only 10.2 square miles, Charlottesville. And the thinking, if this happens, houseless individuals would not congregate at the current clip they are congregating on the downtown mall. Now you're going to have to sell that to Albemarle County Board of Supervisors because Albemarle County does not have the houseless congregation in one spot issue that Charlottesville has on the downtown mall. Where would you say the houseless individuals congregate in Albemarle County? Off the Rivanna Trail, maybe the median over there by Whole Foods and the bypass. You see a lot of folks working that corner.
They're on lots of corners.
There are a lot of corners, but they're not congregating in one spot like they are in the downtown mall.
Right.
Albemarle County, that's not happening, save for maybe certain portions of the Rivanna Trail. So the Board of Supervisors would probably be much cooler to the idea than City Council, where City Council clearly is dealing with this every day. Anything else you want to add? You did well today. You like this long-form content when you and I are having a conversation.
I like conversations because they're more meaningful. They're less about X is right and Y is wrong, and more about, okay, let's get into the gray between X and Y.
The gray matter.
No, the gray, because nothing is like 100% right or 100% wrong. There's always a mix.
Oh, we just did it today.
And a discussion gets into that.
Do you prefer gypsy staff or walking stick?
I prefer wizard staff.
Wizard staff? Okay.
I don't know.
I think Yelling Man has a gypsy staff.
Okay.
He's also lost a lot of weight. Have you seen him recently?
No, I haven't seen him in a while.
Very, very skinny. Almost gaunt.
And I'm also having trouble.
Clapping Man at times looked jacked.
He
was
jacked.
He could put up some reps on a bench press at 225.
I have trouble remembering separating the two because it's been a while since I've seen.
Clapping Man is the man who claps. Yelling Man is the man who yells.
Well, that is one way of telling them apart. But
Clapping Man doesn't have a gypsy staff. Yelling Man does.
The problem is
Clapping Man is jacked and diesel. Yelling Man is not.
The problem is I haven't seen either of them in at least a year or two.
What?
So I
saw Yelling Man yesterday.
I used to park under the bridge, and so I'd have to walk past Clapping Guy every time he was standing up on that little plinth
I know.
by the Freedom Wall. But I don't park there anymore, so I don't walk by there, and I haven't seen him or heard him in a while. And same with the Yelling Guy. He used to walk up and down the mall. Maybe I just haven't been visiting the downtown mall during his working hours, but I haven't seen him in a while either. So all I'm saying is I'd have trouble picking either one of them out.
They miss you as much as you miss them.
Oh, I'm sure that's true.
They miss you quite a bit, Judah. He's Judah Wickower. I'm Jerry Miller. This is the I Love CVille Show on a Tuesday, presented by Skooma Boutique Dispensary and by Greenberry's Coffee Company. The best coffee in Charlottesville is Greenberry's Coffee. They are the longest running coffee roaster in Charlottesville. You can win free coffee for a year through this URL, enter.greenberries.com, enter.greenberries.com to win free coffee for a year, courtesy of the longest running coffee roaster in the Charlottesville area, Greenberry's Coffee. For Judah Wickower, my name is Jerry Miller, and this is the I Love CVille Show, where we love wizard staffs, gypsy staffs, and walking sticks equally the same. Have a good afternoon. Take care.